Hollywood wants you to believe the cartel is run by the guy holding the gold-plated AK-47. But bullets don't generate billions. Supply chains do. Welcome back to POV Liquid. Today we are tearing down the illusion. You are about to climb the bloodiest corporate ladder on Earth, experiencing the psychological terror of the global narcotics trade from the inside out. In this business, a late delivery doesn't mean a bad performance review, it means your existence is permanently erased. Before we begin this descent into the underworld, if you want to survive the journey and support the channel, hit that subscribe button right now. It gives me the drive to keep bringing you these untold stories. Now, take a slow, deep breath because your reality is about to violently shift. You are currently trapped in seat 32B of a cramped commercial airliner. It is a grueling flight from Bogota to Miami, but the hours have blurred into one endless stretch of dread. You are level 1, the disposable mule. The stomach runner. Your hands are trembling uncontrollably, slick with a cold, unnatural sweat that you frantically try to wipe away on your jeans. You have not allowed a single drop of water or a crumb of food to pass your lips in 48 hours. The cabin air is freezing, yet you are burning up inside. Every time the plane jolts through a pocket of turbulence, a sharp, suffocating spike of panic shoots straight up your spine. Deep inside your gut, submerged in corrosive stomach acid, are 50 tightly knotted latex balloons packed with pure, uncut product. You swear you can feel them shifting against your organs. The physical agony is a constant, grinding ache, but it is absolutely dwarfed by the psychological torture. You are drowning in isolation, surrounded by sleeping tourists who have no idea you are a walking time bomb. Then, the absolute worst-case scenario materializes. As the plane touches down and the cabin doors eventually open, you peer down the aisle and spot a customs officer, a canine dog straining against its leash, sniffing the recycled air. Your heart violently slams against your ribs. You try to force your face into a mask of calm, but your mind is screaming. In this suffocating moment, you realize the brutal, undeniable truth. You aren't a human being to the men who put you on this plane. You are just biological packaging. If just one of those cheap latex knots gives way, a lethal dose will flood your bloodstream, and you will die convulsing right here in this aisle. The cartel won't mourn you. They won't even attend your funeral. They will simply replace you with another desperate kid by tomorrow morning. Finally realizing that distance is just a deadly illusion. Level 2, the tactical smuggler, the drone pilot. You survived the suffocating terror of the cabin, trading the claustrophobia of a middle seat for the vast, freezing, pitch-black emptiness of the Sonoran Desert. You have clawed your way up to level 2, becoming the tactical smuggler, but the promotion feels more like a new kind of death sentence. It is 2 in the morning, and the biting wind cuts right through your jacket as you stand completely still, miles away from the imposing steel slats of the border wall. In your numb hands rests a modified, heavy-duty transmitter, and staring back at you is a tablet screen casting a pale, ghostly green glow across your face. You are piloting a custom-built, carbon fiber hexacopter, carrying 15 pounds of high-grade product strapped tightly to its underbelly. The drone is entirely blacked out, screaming through the night sky without a single navigation light, guided only by the grainy feed of a military-grade infrared camera. In a twisted way, it feels exactly like playing a high-stakes video game from the comfort of a dark basement, but the adrenaline rushing through your veins reminds you that there are no extra lives here. You are actively flying through an invisible, multi-million-dollar minefield. Just over that wall, federal thermal cameras are sweeping the desolate landscape, hunting for the slightest heat signature. Mobile radar trucks sit parked on the messes, constantly scanning the airspace for anomalies. You have to fly dangerously low, hugging the jagged, unforgiving terrain to stay under the radar canopy, holding your breath every time the drone dips too close to a canyon wall, or a sudden gust of wind drains the battery voltage. You tell yourself you are safer now because you aren't swallowing balloons anymore, but that is the insidious trap of this rank. You have simply swapped a biological risk for a technological one. You are physically detached from the product, yet tied to it by an invisible, highly vulnerable thread. If those Border Patrol agents detect your drone's radio frequency, they will triangulate your exact JPS coordinates in a matter of seconds. And the terrifying truth is that the flashing red and blue lights of law enforcement are actually your best-case scenario. If you lose that payload, the cartel's cleanup crew will be listening to those same frequencies. They don't accept apologies for lost cargo. If the signal drops, men who operate entirely in the shadows will come to collect the debt directly from your flesh. You press your frozen thumbs harder into the joysticks, staring into the digital abyss, finally realizing that distance is just a deadly illusion. Level 3, the high-value asset. That fragile illusion of distance shatters when your expertise promotes you out of the desert and drops you directly into the suffocating humidity of the deep Colombian jungle canopy. You have reached level 3, evolving from a disposable pilot into a high-value asset, the Narco sub-engineer. The heavily armed men standing at the perimeter of the makeshift, mud-soaked shipyard aren't just looking outward to protect you from the military. Their cold eyes are constantly fixed inward to make sure you never try to walk away. You spend your waking hours covered in toxic chemicals, frantically layering fiberglass and epoxy resin over crude steel frames to construct what are essentially disposable, low-profile submarines. These vessels are not marvels of modern naval architecture. They are claustrophobic, floating coffins meticulously designed to carry 5 tons of pure product and sink into the abyss at the push of a scuttling valve if intercepted by the authorities. But the true psychological horror begins when you are forced by the cartel bosses to physically test drive your own creations. You are bolted inside a sweltering, closet-sized steel tube, hovering blindly just a few feet below the churning, violent surface of the Pacific Ocean. The ambient noise is absolutely deafening, a relentless, bone-rattling roar from the massive, repurposed diesel engine sitting mere inches from your sweating spine. The stagnant air inside the cabin is incredibly thick with the sickening, dizzying stench of exhaust fumes and raw fuel, burning your eyes and choking your lungs with every shallow breath you take. You navigate in absolute darkness, staring obsessively at a crude, glowing piece monitor, fully aware that a massive, invisible net of United States Coast Guard sonar arrays is constantly sweeping the black waters just miles away from your location. If a single fiberglass seam cracks, or if the heavy seawater breaches the hastily sealed overhead hatch, the immense ocean pressure will drag this iron tome down to the ocean floor before you even have the chance to scream. Yet, as your white-knuckled hands grip the rudimentary steering column, a twisted, sobering realization washes over you. Your specialized engineering brain is now worth tens of millions of dollars to the organization. You have finally become far too valuable to be casually executed over a minor logistical mistake, permanently shielded from the brutal, street-level violence that so easily claims the lives of the mules and the border runners. But survival at this elevated rank comes with an incredibly heavy, corrosive tax. The unrelenting paranoia and the suffocating, deep-sea claustrophobia are slowly rotting you from the inside out, aging your mind and body an entire decade for every single year you spend holding your breath in the dark. Level 4, the Port Authority Master. You no longer touch the product, nor do you ever have to look at the desperate men bleeding in the dirt to move it. Instead, you wear a bespoke Zigna suit, standing behind floor-to-ceiling glass windows that overlook the sprawling, mechanical labyrinth of a major global shipping hub like the Port of Los Angeles. In this pristine environment, your weapon of choice is no longer a heavy-duty transmitter or a rusted wrench. It is a simple, unassuming mouse click. You are a ghost operating within the legitimate international supply chain, tasked with manipulating digital shipping manifests to hide nightmares inside ordinary maritime commerce. With a few calculated keystrokes, you can artificially blind the port's high-tech X-ray scanners for a highly specific, 15-minute window, providing just enough time for 3 targeted shipping containers to bypass customs entirely undetected among the tens of thousands moving through the concrete yard. It is a chillingly calm, methodical existence, characterized by the terrifying banality of corporate evil. Your daily routine involves high-stakes diplomacy, casually sipping expensive wine with local politicians, and smiling for cameras at lavish charity galas, all while a hidden burner phone vibrates against your ribs, delivering encrypted, self-destructing messages from ruthless cartel bosses. You live in a constant state of polished paranoia, fully aware that federal investigators and Interpol agents are endlessly sifting through your digital paper trails, desperately praying you make a single, careless clerical error that will bring your pristine empire crashing down. Yet, the true horror of this rank isn't the looming threat of a federal indictment. It is the crushing psychological realization of your own monumental complicity. You have successfully distanced yourself entirely from the raw, visceral violence of the cartels, but as you stare down at the endless lines of cargo trucks leaving the port, the undeniable truth settles heavily in your chest. You are the ultimate enabler. By seamlessly laundering this poison through the legal infrastructure of global trade, you are the single reason it floods entire cities, dismantles communities, and fuels an endless cycle of death. You have kept your hands impeccably clean, but your soul is saturated with a darkness far deeper than the jungle you left behind. Level 5, the Sovereign Launderer. There are no roaring diesel engines here, no barking dogs, no flashing police sirens, and no frantic phone calls in the middle of the night. Your reality is now defined entirely by the hushed, climate-controlled stillness of a private wealth management firm in Geneva, or perhaps a sprawling, minimalist penthouse overlooking the glittering skyline of Dubai. The air up here is thin, cold, and completely detached from the visceral grit of human suffering. At this unprecedented altitude, a fundamental, terrifying shift in the power dynamic has occurred. You no longer work for the cartel. The ruthless cartel bosses, the men who command private armies, who terrorize entire nations, who dictate life and death in the dust below, effectively work to feed your colossal financial machine. To them, you are a ghost, an invisible, omnipotent deity who grants their dirty paper actual power in the real world. Your daily operations do not involve anything physical. You deal strictly in abstract digits, washing tens of billions of dollars of unimaginable blood money through an impossibly complex, digital labyrinth. You construct dizzying, impenetrable webs of anonymous shell corporations in offshore tax havens. You funnel rivers of illicit wealth into acquiring entire blocks of prime London real estate, orchestrating high-end art auctions, and deploying algorithmic crypto tumblers that systematically erase financial histories in fractions of a second. You don't hide cash in drywall. You hide it in plain sight, weaving it so deeply into the legitimate fabric of global commerce that the blood is entirely bleached away. To the financial elite, you are a respected venture capitalist, a macroeconomic visionary, a titan of industry. But here is the most terrifying, mind-bending secret of your existence, the ultimate paradox that makes this rank the true apex of the criminal world. You are not hiding from the authorities. The global intelligence community, the CIA, the FBI, MI6, Interpol, they all know exactly who you are and what you do. They possess meticulously detailed dossiers outlining your every move. They track your private jets and monitor the faint echoes of your offshore wire transfers. Yet, they do absolutely nothing. They cannot arrest you. They cannot drag you into a federal courtroom in handcuffs. Why? Because you have engineered a financial hostage situation on a global scale. You hold so much immense liquidity, so much concentrated capital flowing through major, legitimate international banks that freezing your assets would trigger a catastrophic, systemic domino effect. If they pull your thread, they don't just cripple a drug cartel. They risk collapsing regional economies, wiping out legitimate pension funds, and destroying the very banking institutions that sovereign governments rely on to survive. You have weaponized the global banking system, effectively forcing the state to protect your illicit empire in order to protect its own fragile markets. You sit in the absolute quiet of your office, listening only to the faint, rhythmic ticking of your Patek Philippe watch, feeling the absolute, isolating weight of your invincibility. Looking down at the world below, the desperate violence of the lower ranks, the terrified mules on airplanes, the drone pilots freezing in the desert feels like a primitive, alien universe. You have transcended crime. You are no longer a trafficker or a smuggler. You are a sovereign financial entity, a structural pillar of the global economy standing quietly and untouchably above the law itself. Closing, as you stare out from that untouchable summit, watching the city lights flicker below like fragile data points in your financial empire, the illusion of global justice completely shatters. Let's break the simulation for a second and look at the terrifying bigger picture. When you trace this endless river of blood from the terrified mule choking down balloons in coach, through the drone pilots and the port authorities, all the way up to the billionaire banker whose assets are simply too massive for governments to freeze, an uncomfortable truth emerges. If the legitimate global economy secretly relies on the quiet, sterile keystrokes of a level 5 launderer just to maintain its delicate balance, who exactly are the real criminals? Is it the ruthless cartel boss hiding in the jungle, or the polished suits in the skyscrapers who engineered the machine to wash his sins? I need to know where you draw the line. Which level of this descent terrified you the absolute most? Drop down into the comments and tell me your thoughts. If you want to survive our next deep dive into the hidden systems secretly controlling your world, hit that subscribe button and leave a like. I will see you in the next one.